Okay, real quick update into where we're at with this Smash Jeep build. I don't know how well you can see this, but you see those two little holes there? I'm using this piece of sheet styrene and I'm creating a bracket for these wires. As you can see, I've already got them bent. They will act as the tarp frame that is supposed to be available on this Jeep. If you take a look here, I've got the air cleaner on the Jeep. I've got plug wires in place. Let me see here. I don't know how well you can see this. There you go. I got the plug wires in place. I've got the ignition coil going to the distributor. And as soon as it's ready and I've got the battery done and ready, I'll do cables from the battery where they're supposed to go. One to the generator, which as you can see there's two little posts back there. I'll do one to the generator and one to the starter here. And then of course there will be a branch of them. One will go to the ignition coil and all of that, just to give it that little extra panache, that little extra oomph, as it were. And of course the frame is ready to go. I've got the front bumper on there. I've got the rear bumpers and the pintle hitch on. Everything is pretty well set for final assemblies, but of course you've got primer and paint to do first. The dash is cleaned up and ready to go. I've got to clean up the hood, get rid of all that flash on there. I don't know how well you can see this, but you see that flash? I want to try and get rid of that mess, just because we want this to look as nice as possible. Maybe get rid of some of these sink marks here. And then of course the last bit of exhaust is cleaned up and ready for final attachment. I will attempt to show some of the weathering process. The exhaust here will get slightly rusted up. I don't know how well you can see it, but if you look carefully, I've hollowed out the end of the exhaust to give it just that little extra bit of realism there. And then obviously the inside of that will go black, and then the outside of this will get that darker, sootier bit for that added realism. This cooling pipe, cooling hose, I need to clean up a little bit. This is the blackout light that you will find on almost every single military vehicle. I need to clean that up. Your 4 high, 4 low, and gear shift, I will clean them up. And as I clean up and get rid of this seam line that is on these things, most of this chrome will go away. And then of course the windshield frame gets cleaned up. The steering wheel is together. I'm doing a little extra added detail. I hollowed out the center here. I don't know how well you can see it with my big old fingers in the way, but I put in a very small piece of sheet styrene, and then here shortly I'm going to put in a clipping of wire to simulate a bolt. That'll be the locking ring. Again, you don't have to be this good or try to get these kind of exacting details. If you're just starting out, just start out and enjoy the build. This is just one of those things. The level of build video where I'm trying to explain this is what you can do. Pardon me. And as you can see, I did clean up the jerry can. After sanding and cleaning it off, I used a small piece of sheet styrene there, and then a piece of foil here to create the rim for the jerry can to sit in. Of course, I had to clean up all the excess mess on it. Once this has primer and paint on it, it'll be easier to conceal the blemishes you see, and you'll just see the big X. Oops, pardon me. Of course, there's the lid, and as you can see, I actually hollowed out and cleared up the bits here for the carry handle, because these 5-gallon jerry cans, believe it or not, in the military, the reason why these handles are here is because they're designed to be a 2-person carry. 5 gallons of fluid is really heavy. Though in the Army we can, and do quite often, we can carry one on each side of us. You know, just we carry 2 individually because that's what we do. However, these were designed as a 2-person carry. So honestly, you put one person puts one hand in here, the other person puts the other hand in here, and it makes it easier to transport 5 gallons of, well, in this jerry can it would be fuel. So it just makes it that much easier. You could also tote water or something in jerry can specified for that. It's just easier to carry 2-person wise, and that's why those were put in there. But as you can see, this is where we're at now. The grill has been cleaned up, and I actually had to reshape it a little bit in order to get it to fit right where it's supposed to. No, I have not attached it because I want to get color down in here. But when we come back, the last few pieces here will be cleaned up, and there will be prime and paint on everything. Again, this here is being modeled after a specific Jeep from MASH. So that's why there are specific things. This headache rack, this little headache rack in the back, and whatnot is there specifically on the Jeep it's being modeled after. So that's why that is there. I will not need the rear bench seat because there's going to be several boxes in the back. But otherwise, this has been a quick review and quick update where we're at. When we come back, everything will have paint on it. The bulk of the body will be completely assembled. The engine will be in the frame, and we'll be ready for the last few little details, getting them all slapped together, and we'll be ready for the final reveal. So hang on to your hats and keep a watch out for those. Here we go. Alrighty, and here we go. We are down to the wire on this. I've got some pre-weathering going on. You can see my exhaust is kind of roughed up there, kind of used. I did dry brushing on the frame to give that whole initial muddy, dirty look. Let's see if we can't get us a little bit closer here. And obviously you can see here my exhaust, how that looks. Of course, yes, I purposely roughed up all of those decals. Oh, yes, and here we go. Let's see. Can we get it? There's where we going. When I'm done, you'll barely see the 40077 and the MA of MASH. But I got them on there so I could get the outline, get a little bit of the dirt going to cover it up so you can get the sense or the feel of it. And of course here, as you can see, within the Jeep body itself, we've got the paint all nice and scraped up. The seats are starting to look a little worn, a little torn up there. We have the bumper numbers going here, little extra initial wash, a little extra pre-weathering. Of course, we've done the reflectors because the reflectors were actually plastic back in the day, so the red and orange reflectors would have been red and orange. These are your blackout lights, so they're of course red, and that white, believe it or not, having served in the military myself, that white is actually white. It's not a clear backup light, it's actually white, or comes off as white, especially on the older vehicles. The first vehicle I was ever licensed on was an M35A2. That was the first vehicle I was ever licensed on in the military. But we got a little bit of the dash work there. Of course, we have to get the steering wheel installed, which it says we're supposed to wait till this whole thing is assembled to get it in, which is fine. We'll get it all mated in there properly. And that will, of course, mount right there. We have the grill and the little blackout lights there. The hood, as you can see, I have it pre-weathered. So in other words, I got the paint on. It is olive drab with white over the olive drab, and then the red cross. And that will go in place there. I do have a couple little extra parts that have to wait until the very end here. I didn't want a chance knocking off this blackout light. And you can't put the upper radiator hose on until the body is actually attached. Now, the actual model, or the actual Jeep that I'm going to attempt, that this is being modeled after, I will try and provide a picture of. But these little bits of blue styrofoam are going to act as the boxes that Hawkeye and Margaret were transporting medical supplies that they were transporting to the other MASH unit. So these will get a little bit of covering with balsa wood, and one of them will actually, I will use an actual piece of paper and cut it out so it's basically an oblong cross, and then I will fold it as if it is a box around the block, and then age the paper itself and give it that cardboard box look. I will actually use tweezers and fold it up. So when we come back, everything should be together, everything should look right and be precisely what we are looking for. The only thing that will be missing is Hawkeye driving and Hot Lips holding her hat in place. So stay tuned. Okay, here we are. We are at the final step. It's the reveal. Now, this has been a really fun build for me. This, of course, is the MPC Godzilla Planetary Defense Vehicle Willys MB Jeep. In the box, or out of the box, you have 4 different versions in which you could build it. I created a 5th because as much as I love Godzilla, I happen to love MASH more. So my Jeep is based off of that. I've got a sheet of paper. I have logged how long this took me. It's been 2 weeks as of today, 14 days. So out of 14 days, mind you, I do have, life to contend with, whatever, going to the store, helping to watch my granddaughter, which is fantastic, or anything else that life throws at you. This took me a total of 9 days. Breaking down that 9 days is 35.5 hours. So I put a lot of work into this, even though I didn't have to. I wanted a certain look, and I believe I've achieved it. I did take some artistic license, so it's not an exact copy of the Jeep I was looking to recreate, but it is extraordinarily similar. So if you ever take a moment and watch MASH, watch the episode Comrade in Arms. It's the episode where Hawkeye and Margaret kiss for the first time, I think. I'm pretty sure that's the first time they do. Anyway, the 2 of them have a Jeep load of supplies, and they are driving off somewhere. I can't remember the exact story behind it. I haven't watched the episode in a couple of years, but I had seen several pictures of it because I did some research on the various Jeeps that I wanted to possibly go with. And I happened to see this Jeep, and I said that would push my level of experience and force me, or I'm sorry, not force, but more push techniques I'm still trying to master. And I think I managed to pull them off with this build. So, without further ado, the Godzilla Willys MB Jeep 1/25th scale from MPC, brought to you from by Round 2, picked up through autoworldstore.com. This is the box. This is what I've got. You don't have to do everything I did, obviously. This is, again, my take on that Jeep. If you have any questions concerning the techniques I've used, by all means feel free to ask down in the comments. I'm hoping you're getting a sense of all the detail here. Yes, the windscreen still folds up, and yes, the hood still opens, even though it's fiddly. When they're driving the Jeep, this is how the Jeep looks, or pretty close to it anyway. So again, let me know in the comments what you think. Maybe a question. Give me a thumbs up. You will be able to go over to His&Hers Hobby Headquarters on Facebook and see more pictures of the Jeep. Maybe you can take a moment and feel free to save those pictures and take a look and try to get a sense of what I did here. Believe it or not, this here, the tarp, is actually tissue paper dipped in a watered down wood glue and then formed around all of the boxes here. The box is actually made out of balsa wood. The clasp is made out of metal foil. The hinges for the box are made from evergreen tubing, and the box or boxes underneath the tarp and underneath the box are made from blue styrofoam. So just a little bit of extra bit there to give it that little bit of extra panache. You use what you have on hand. I tried to give it as worn a look as possible, obviously. Give it that dirty look. It's been all over the country, all over the Korean countryside. The strap, which if I decide to later on, I can add a little bit more, but the strap here is actually made with a very thin strip of Tamiya masking tape, and the hook here holding the strap onto the handhold here is actually made with foil. I used my tweezers to roll the foil so it would hold as a hook, attach the strip of masking tape, laid it across, and then I very carefully used my favorite brush, get in that extra detail, and painted the strap. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask either on YouTube here or over on Facebook. I will attempt to answer them as best as I can. Feel free to comment. We look forward to those. Let us know what you think. So again, this has been the 1/25th scale Willys MB Jeep from Invasion of Astro Monster turned into the MASH Jeep. So like, comment, share, subscribe. Head on over to Facebook and follow us over there. This has been Eric with His and Hers Hobby Headquarters. Have a good day.